What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Robert Fitzpatrick. I am a real estate agent in the DFW area. Thank you for tuning in on this Saturday, or if you're watching this replay. I know a lot of people watch this replay Saturday. I get it. You're out doing stuff. But I wanted to get this information in as soon as possible. Today is July 1st, and on the first day of the month, that's typically when the MLS updates with the newest data from June. So I wanted to get on and give that to you guys right away. And as everyone makes their way into the stream, we can get this thing going. Hope everyone's having a great day. Okay. All right. I'll set this up here. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing great. Okay. All right. Let's get it. Move this back just a little bit. I'm adding the Instagram people that want to come on and view this. Gotta wipe this camera off. See that? These cameras be getting dirty. All right. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday. Like I said, one moment. All right. So what are we talking about today? We're going to go over the data. We're going to go over whether home prices rose, fell, what sellers are doing, what buyers are doing, what's generally happening in different areas of the marketplace, because I think that's important. And ultimately, we have to, be informed if we want to make the best decisions. And I am going to be answering questions on Instagram as well, going back and forth between YouTube and Instagram. So if you see me talking to my phone, I'm not crazy. I promise you. Okay. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, though, I do want to say that later on in the episode, I'm going to be addressing some things that I'm hearing online, and the video example that I'm going to be using is not picking on anyone in particular. This is actually a YouTuber that I watch when it comes to real estate. And they said some things that I kind of disagree with, and I'm going to touch on that as well. But I do want to preface that by saying it's not a beef. It's just me having a differing opinion and using the data that I have to kind of refute and push back on some of the negativity that I'm hearing in the real estate marketplace. Because understand, many people don't do this every day like I do, like other real estate agents do. As a real estate agent, we're in the thick and thin of this every single day. So we're keeping up on the market. We don't just read the headlines and then that's what we base it on. We have actual data, and we have experiences with clients, and we have a behind the scenes look of how these real estate transactions actually play out. All right. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right. So I know everyone wants to hear about sales prices. So I'm going to get going on sales prices. All right. So here we have Okay. So I hope you all can see this. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay. So what are we looking at right here? All right. And if you're on Instagram and you actually want to see the charts and the graphs that I'm showing, make sure you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find that information in the link. Yeah. So, and my YouTube name is Selling Dallas, Texas. That's Selling, SELLING, Dallas, Texas. Okay. So what are we looking at right here? What are we looking at? So essentially, this is January of 2022. This is where sales prices were. The median sales price. Median just means 50% of properties were above that and 50% are below it. Okay. And so what we're talking about right here, and if you are on my Instagram, you actually want to see the charts, like I said, go over to my YouTube channel. The link is in the bio. But we're talking about sales prices right now, and I am on YouTube as well. And what we're seeing right now is between January 2022, or actually let's use June, because that's where we're at right now. We're in June as far as the data. We're in July, but this data updates and it gives us what we're looking at for June. So in June, the median sales price was $395,000 in the MLS where I'm at, in the DFW area. $395,000. That was the median price. Now, in June 2023, the median sales price is $380,000. So that's down about 3.8%. So this is why I get confused when I get online and I hear people saying, oh, the real estate market is crashing, or the real estate market is doing horrible, or it's nobody can find a home. Well, prices are down from last June. People were buying last June and prices are down now and people are still buying. Okay. People are still buying. So right now, for all properties in the MLS, the price is $380,000. Let's just look at single families, because that's what people are going to buy when most people are going to buy when they go buy real estate, right? So now we're at 386,000. Okay. Now, many clients I work with, they're going to get a 3-bedroom, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That's typically what we're looking at. And they're going to get a property. They're not going to get a new construction. They're going to get a resale. Resale just means it's been lived in before. Okay. So if we're getting specific, for a 3-bedroom resale in the DFW area, the median sales price is $320,000. Last June, it was $343,000. So it's went down $23,000. Okay. It's went down $23,000 for a 3-bedroom in the DFW area. And the reason I want to show you this is because when you look at data online, understand that that data is telling a specific picture about the data that they're filtering. It may not be your specific situation. So I use 3-bedroom, 2-bath as an example, because many people that come to me, they're not looking for a 4-bedroom, a 5-bedroom. They're not looking at townhouses. They're looking at single family properties and that are 3 bedrooms. And so if we narrow down the search to those parameters, we see a different price completely. And so that's why it's important that you get specific data for your specific situation, because ultimately that's what's going to lead you to the best. It does you no good to hear, oh, well, home price, the median home price is $345,000. Okay, maybe that gives you an idea, but your specific property, the range that you're looking in, the type of property, it may be less. That's why you have to look at information that's specific to your situation, or you can get tricked. Because look, I'm going to share this with you again. We can clearly see right here, $320,000 for June, the median sales price for a single family 3-bedroom. But if we say all bedrooms, look at the price. It goes from $320,000 to $386,000, because it's taking into consideration townhouses, condos, farm ranches. Some of these condos sell for millions of dollars. Some of these townhouses sell for millions of dollars, and some of them are new, are newer. Like, if you want information on your specific property, you need to get specific information on neighborhoods to even go further. That's why general information does you no good in real estate. You need to look at your specific situation. Okay. All right. So what does this mean? What does this mean? In general, sales prices are down 3.8% from last June, which is great if you're a buyer. And it's still good if you're a seller, right? It's still good if you're a seller because relatively speaking, prices are still high. You're not a bum now if you're selling your home right now compared to last year, right? You may make a little less, but you're still making, you still gained a lot of equity in the grand scheme of things, right? In general, people that have had their properties for 5-10 years, you still, and even some people 3 years, you still gained ton of equity. Okay. So right now I want to take this moment to speak to home sellers, because I know a lot of home sellers, when they hear that prices went down since last June, they think, oh, I missed my opportunity to sell. I missed my opportunity to sell. I missed my window to sell. Here's the thing, right? Most homeowners, when they sell their property, they're selling because there's a need. There's a reason why you are selling your property. You may need to move closer to family. Someone may have moved out and you don't need all of that space anymore. And you may actually save money by downgrading, right? There's a need. There's a specific need when you are selling your property. Maybe your parent is elderly now and they can't really get around like they used to. And instead of you putting them in a facility and paying hundreds and thousands of dollars a month, they come live with you. And that saves you money because you would have been put in a position to where maybe you have to fork out some of that money to pay for it. So there's all types of different needs for home sellers when they sell. So don't just take into consideration the price. Don't just take into consideration the interest rates when you go buy again. I'm not saying those things aren't important, but what I am saying is, how does that fit into the overall goals that you have in your life? Because that's ultimately what real estate is for. It's a tool to help you accomplish your goals. Whether you want to live without a mortgage at a certain point, whether you want to tap into that equity later on in life or at any point in life and start a business, whether you want to tap into that equity to start building wealth and purchase other real estate properties, you're building equity so that you can use that tool. Some people's tool is peace of mind, not knowing they have a mortgage, right? That's their peace of mind. Other people's peace of mind is knowing, hey, if things go south, I can sell this property, move into a less expensive property, especially now when many jobs are offering remote positions. You could sell a property at a higher price in DFW in Texas and move to a place like Ohio, move to a place where the property values are lower, maybe buy a property cash and still have money, or put a larger down payment down and have a less of a payment than you had here. There's so many different options. Okay. There's so many different options as a home seller. And what I like to do is talk about those options and really see why it is you want to sell in the first place. Because you may say, hey, I want to sell and I want to start this business, but I need $80,000 to start this business. And I say, okay, if you sell your property, you're not going to walk away with $80,000 because you don't have enough equity and you still owe X amount on the loan. And also, we have to take in consideration where you're going to live. Do you want to rent after you sell? Do you want to put a down payment down on another property? All of that takes energy and time to put together a cohesive plan. So that is why it's important that you get specific information on your specific situation and not just base your life off of headlines. Don't just base your life off of headlines, okay? Because headlines are meant to get clicks. They're not meant to help you. They're not meant to add value to your life. They're meant for you to click on it so that you can then go in there and then you can make whoever's making the content money. And look, I'm all for it, right? As a content creator, I'm a part of that world. I'm a part of that game, but I'm also a licensed real estate agent who has a fiduciary duty to my clients. So off of YouTube, it's like there is no clickbait. I have a responsibility to my clients to make sure I put them in the best position to accomplish their real estate goals. All right. Moving forward, okay. Original list price. The median original list price. Okay. So I'm going to do all construction type and all property type just to show y'all. Okay. Let me share my screen with you. So as we can see, the original list price for all properties in the MLS, in my MLS, the DFW MLS, the original list price, the median original list price was $410,000. Okay, $410,000, which, by the way, is down 3.5% from last year. It was at 424,000. It's at 410,000 right now. Okay. Now, here's why that's important. Because if we go back to the median sales price, the median sales price is $387,000. So if we do the math, believe that's 10, 20, $23,000 difference, right? The median sales price is $387,000. The median list price is $410,000. So the difference between 410,000, we have 410 minus 10, that's 400,000. Minus 10, that's 490,000. We're at 20,000. Minus 3,000, that's $23,000. That's a $23,000 difference between the original list price and the original sales, the original list price and the sales price. So all of these people talking about, oh, you're overpaying for a property, or you're paying more because you're paying more than they asked for. That's not what the data is showing. Okay, the data is showing that when people list a property, 50% of those people are not the median sales price, 387,000, original list price, 410,000. 50% of the people, or 50% of listings, are being listed at or below 410,000, and 50% are selling at or below 387,999. Let's look at the average. Okay, the average property, the average price, and the average just means all of the property property sales prices added up and then multiplied or divided by the total amount that went into it. The average listing price, or the average sales price, was $482,139. Okay, that's the average. The average listing price, $542,000. So even if you want to look at the average listing price and it's higher, but that's not really reflective of what someone could go out and get. Because again, median, I think, is a little more accurate because the average is also taking into consideration all of these other properties that sell for super expensive. The median is saying, hey, 50% of people are that buy a home are getting it below this price. Okay, I think that's a good indicator. 50% of people. So 542,000 is the original listing price, the average. 482,000. So I think that's about what? 542. That's 18 plus 4. So that's like a $58,000 difference, I believe. $58,000 difference, if my math is correct. So that just goes to show you. And if we take it a step further and we go, like I said, the example earlier, the average price for a 3-bedroom resale is $361,000, right? So a lot lower than if we just look at the whole MLS. A lot lower if we just look at the whole MLS. And here's another thing, right? when you're searching for a property, and you're thinking about all the headlines and things like that, that can start to play games with you. Because you become discouraged. You think that you're going to end up in that situation where you're paying that. All you have to do is go on Zillow, go on my website, wherever you're looking at properties, and you can see that many of these properties are not selling at or above what they're being listed for, which lets you know sellers are willing to negotiate. You can still get a good deal, and that home ownership is still possible for many people. Okay, it's still possible for many people. So I'm going to get into a few more statistics, and then we're going to have some fun. Okay. We're going to have some fun. Okay. So if you're a home seller, what I want you to see, if you're a home owner and you're thinking about selling, I want you to see this. Okay. So right here, we can see that new listings are down about 26.7% from last June. They're down. Okay. But we are seeing an upward trend, and we typically see that in the summertime. Now, it's not as high of a peak as we would see in other situations. Like last year in May, there was a larger peak. And I think this year it actually went down a little bit from May to June. But what's happening is buyers are beginning to push back somewhat. They're beginning to say, hey, look, okay, interest rates are too high for us, and we want better deals. And when I say better deals, a large part of this has come down to buyers wanting to see sellers drop the price, right? Buyers want to see sellers drop the price. But what many buyers don't know is that price can be dropped by going in and negotiating. Okay, if you're waiting on the sideline like some weak, helpless person, and you actually want to buy a property, all you are doing is setting yourself up to lose that property to someone that's willing to put an offer in, but negotiate the price down, negotiate different terms, so they're in a winning situation, right? Waiting on the sideline is not how you win in real estate. You're not just waiting, you're still putting your hand in there, throwing out deals, because here's what ends up happening. You wait, other people wait, and then when you go throw your hat in, it's a lot tougher than you thought. Why? Because now you have more competition. As a matter of fact, if properties are sitting on the market longer, you're going to have less competition. You're going to be in a better position to negotiate because that seller's been sitting there like, oh, when is it going to sell? Again, get in the mind of a seller. Sellers are selling because they have a need typically. So if they have a need, they want that property sold. They're not just listing it to list. They typically have a need and they want that property sold. So if you come in and you offer a fair deal, many sellers are saying, hey, look, we see the way the market's going. We see the way interest rates are. We still have this need. Let's make something happen. But if you're waiting to get a notification saying, oh, the price dropped 10%. Okay, that's one strategy. That's a little more, that's not as proactive as putting in an offer and you offering 10% less. I'd rather see that. I'd rather see you put an offer in on that property and offer 10% less than if you really want that property to sit around and wait for them to drop it. Because guess what? While you're waiting, they're making deals with the people that already put an offer in. That's the thing that I don't think many people realize. Okay. As a home buyer, when you put an offer in, the listing agent doesn't just forget that offer, right? Especially if you're putting offers, if they're not getting any other offers, a good listing agent is going to reach back out to the people that put offers in and say, hey, how can we make this deal happen? So even if you put an offer in for 10% less and it doesn't get accepted, well, if that listing agent needs to now turn around and try to drum up some business to get this property sold, you're going to be first in line because you've already shown that, one, if you put an offer in, you've shown you're pre-approved. Two, you've shown interest in the property enough to put the offer in. And three, it makes it easier for the listing agent because they don't have to go out and do open houses and things like that. So they're going to go where they think the money is, and they're going to go to the people that have already shown the greatest amount of interest in the property. So it's not useless to put in an offer that's maybe less than if you think that property is going to sit, because you're going to be first in line when they start making phone calls trying to sell this property. Boom, boom. Now you're getting phone calls, right? That's another strategy. Okay. So I'm going to get off of the statistics now. I think I've given enough statistics on the things that people really care about. If you want more, if you are interested in more statistics, if you're interested in more information on what's actually happening in a more local area in your neighborhood, text me July 23 to 682-266-6271. I'll put it on the screen. Text July 23 to 682-266-6271 to schedule a free consultation, and we will go over your specific situation. We will talk about your local market, whatever neighborhood you're trying to sell in, whatever neighborhood you're trying to move into. We will go over all of that. Let me know. Text July 23 to 682-266-6271. Okay. So now for the fun part, right? The fun part, I'm going to be reacting to another YouTuber who has some not so pleasant things to say about real estate agents and is pretty much pushing what I would consider to be doom and gloom content. Many of their videos, which I watch their videos, I enjoy them, but many of them, if you're actually in the field of real estate, they come off as very negative, or they come off as you're an idiot or you're stupid if you're buying real estate right now. If you're trying to buy a home, don't just take my word for it. This is just my personal opinion, but I'm going to go through the video and show you guys what I'm seeing. Okay. Now, to give you an idea, this YouTuber's name is Orlando Minor. Some of you may have heard of him. Some of you may not have. From my understanding, he is a loan officer. He provides loans to people that want commercial real estate. I'm not sure if he does residential. If he doesn't do residential, I think that actually takes away credibility from some of the critiques he gives of the residential market, because it is different than the commercial. But he's a loan officer, so I'm going to assume that he can work with people who are trying to purchase a single family residence. Before we get into it, what I do want to say is this is not any hatred. This is not attacking. This is simply me reacting and giving a critique of some things that I see that don't really line up with the facts of what is happening in the real estate market, especially my local market. And also, he takes a couple jabs at real estate agents throughout his content. I think that's part of, his selling point to his audience, is to make it seem like real estate agents are the bad people, make it seem like real estate agents only care about commission checks, and that we're not honest, hardworking people that actually care about our clients. But it's all good. So here we go.
Once prices drop down, I will then purchase your home. But until then, I'm going to sit on the sidelines with a purpose, watch this listing, and watch you drop the price.
Okay. So right there is where I have to disagree with him on his strategy for a potential homeowner to get a good deal on real estate. So let me get this straight. Your advice is, I'm a homeowner. I see a property listed for $400,000. Now, in his example, he didn't mention any comps. He didn't mention, are the comps showing that the property's listed at 400,000 but only worth 380. He doesn't mention that. It's just his opinion at this point that the property is overpriced. His opinion. No comps, no anything. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll assume that the comps are showing that there's a property that's listed on the market for, let's say, $400,000, but the comps are showing that it's $380,000. And he wants his people to wait for that property to drop. Here's where I think that's a bad strategy. If you are waiting for the price of a property to drop, you are waiting to be a loser. And here's why. Especially if it's a good property, right? You know how many clients I've been working with where we tried that strategy. They were like, you know what? The property is too high for me. We're going to wait for it to drop. Okay, we'll wait for it to drop. But here's the problem with that, right? If you're waiting on the sideline for a property to drop, guess what else is happening behind the scenes that may not be updated in the MLS? There are other real estate agents calling that listing agent saying, hey, what's going on? There are other real estate agents calling and saying, hey, my client is interested in blah. They're making deals. There are other buyers that are putting in offers. And I'll tell you what, in real estate, an offer is the golden standard. If you call any listing agent worth their salt and you start trying to negotiate over the phone before you've even submitted an offer on that property, most of them are going to tell you, just submit the offer and then we'll talk. Just submit the offer and then we'll talk. Now, if it's a motivated seller, that's a different story. But if it's a regular seller, most listing agents are going to say, submit the offer and then we can talk. Why? Because when you submit the offer, that shows that you're more serious. So if you're sitting on the sideline waiting, then all you're doing is increasing the chances that somebody else will get that property. Because when you see the price drop, other people see the price drop. And if this property is really overpriced, you're going to have more competition when that price drops. Here's my strategy. Instead of waiting on the sideline with a purpose, why don't you submit offers with the purpose? If the property is listed at 400,000 and you want to pay 380, submit that 380 offer. Why? Why do I say that? Because again, if we go back earlier in the video, if the property is actually overpriced and that seller is not getting any traction on the property, the first people they are going to go to when they try to remarket the property or drum up some business are the people that have already submitted offers because they've shown the most interest. They've shown the most interest. If you've submitted an offer on this property, one, we know what you're willing to pay for it. Two, we know that you're interested in the property. The only thing that we're hoping at this moment is that you haven't went and accepted another offer, right? So this is why it is important to submit offers, even if it may be a little lower, is because if the property is truly overpriced, that listing agent is going to, the chances of them calling you back to say, hey, is your client still open to purchasing the property? It's greater if you have an offer instead of, well, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm not doing anything. I'm just waiting. Nobody knows I'm waiting. Nobody knows I'm interested in the property. And as soon as the property price drops, everyone, if it's a good enough price drop, is going to be going in for that property. Who do you think is going to win? The person that is already submitted an offer and you know they're interested and they're going to get the phone call before you even see the price drop online? Because listing agents don't want to drop the price online. They would rather do the deal, still have it listed at that price, and then you see the price drop or whatever when it sells. They don't necessarily want to do a price drop online. So that's a tip. But let's continue. Okay. Let's continue.
And that's what's happening. We have two sides that are literally doing a standoff right now, guys. They are doing a standoff right now. So who's going to win on the standoff? You as the buyer or you as the seller? And that's what's essentially happening right now. And that's the reason why sales are so much lower. That's the reason why you have these realtors coming up to you saying, hey, man, listen, as a buyer, hey, man, you can refinance. Hey, instead of you worried about the purchase price, just worry about the thing that you can change in the future, which is the interest rate. Don't worry if you spend $150,000 over asking. Forget about that. Did you see what I did?
Okay, so right there, this is what I was talking about earlier when I say him throwing little jabs at real estate agents, right? Here's the thing though, okay? If we look at the actual data, most properties are not selling, as I showed you, most properties are not selling for $50,000 to $100,000 over asking price. What he's done is he's found some anecdotal or maybe some real situations where it has happened where somebody paid $50,000 to $100,000 over, and he's using that to generalize what's actually happening in the real estate market. People are not paying, the majority of people are not paying $50,000, $100,000 over asking price. One, and he should know this because he's a loan officer. If you're paying $50,000 to $100,000 over asking price, and the property is appraising for $50,000 to $100,000 less than what you end up paying, that means that you have to bring that $50,000, $100,000 to closing. So if someone has $50,000 to $100,000 to bring to closing, right, to pay extra, I mean, that doesn't really reflect some of the other content he's made, because if he's saying a majority of people have $50,000 to $100,000 extra to bring the closing to overpay for a property, then we're in better position as a country than I thought. Because last I heard, most people can't even afford an unexpected $500 bill. So how are most people then bringing $50,000 to $100,000 to closing to overpay for a property? It doesn't make sense. And a little background. A lender, a bank, will not give you more than a property appraises for. So in his example, let's say a property appraises for $300,000 and you're like, oh, well, I need to pay $400,000. A bank isn't going to do that. They're only going to give you as much as the property is worth minus your down payment, right? They're not, you have to come with the extra if you want to overpay for a property that is not appraising. So here's the thing though. Many people, and I would argue that Orlando in his content, right? He bases overpaying off of what he feels and not what a house is appraising for. Because many people do not have the money to overpay in the way that he's saying. Many people do not have $50,000 to $100,000 extra to bring to closing to overpay for the property. So this is a misrepresentation, in my opinion, of what's actually happening in the real estate market. Because again, if we look at what's actually happening, say in the DFW area, right? If we look at what's actually happening, then what we can see, if we look at the percentage of original list price. So what this means is what are properties selling for compared to their original listing price? All right. Let's do all properties, all bedrooms, all construction. Okay. 97.1%. What this means, 100% would mean that properties are selling pretty much on average what they were listed for. What this means, 97.1%, is that properties are selling almost 3% below what they're originally listed for. So how are people overpaying, or how are people paying $150,000 to $100,000 over asking if most properties are selling for 3% below asking price? Even at the peak, let's go back 5 years. At the peak of this thing, people were only paying on average about 3.9% above listing price. Okay. So to put that in perspective, if you're buying a $400,000 property, if you paid 10% more, you'd be paying $40,000 over asking. Well, 3.9% is much lower than 10%. And if 10% is $40,000 on a $400,000 property, then even half of that would be 20,000, and it's even lower. 3.9% is more than half of what. So it's like it doesn't add up. So I don't know where he's getting his information from. I would love to see it. I would love to see where he's getting his information from, because let's listen to this again. Let's listen to his argument again, because he's talking about
seller. And that's what's essentially happening right now. And that's the reason why sales are so much lower. That's the reason why you have these realtors coming up to you saying, hey, man, listen, as a buyer, hey, man, you can refinance. Hey, instead of you worried about the purchase price, just worry about the thing that you can change in the future, which is the interest rate. Don't worry if you spend $150,000 over asking. Forget about that. Did you see what I did there? You will be able to get that 3% interest rate.
So again, this is why I'm saying you have to be careful who you listen to online, because as I just showed you, people were not paying, even during the peak of this thing, anywhere close to $50,000 to $100,000 on average, more than. Yet maybe there were a couple people, but that's not the general audience. But some people like to fear monger and make it seem as if this is so widespread and happening everywhere. Like I said, if most people can't afford an unexpected $500 bill, how do they have the $50,000 to $100,000 extra to bring to closing to overpay for a property by that much? It doesn't make sense, but it gets clicks, it gets views, and so people have to put it out there. And I get it. Make your money, do what you do. But I would also like to add, okay, because like I said earlier, this YouTuber that I just showed you, from my understanding, he is a loan officer. He helps people get mortgages, whether on residential or commercial. But even if it's just commercial, most of those commercial deals involve real estate agents. And so you're throwing real estate agents under the bus to get some views. But without those real estate agents, you wouldn't have a business, right? You wouldn't have a mortgage business, because there'd be no real estate agents to make the deal run smoothly, to go and connect the buyer and the seller, to do all of the market research, to make the deal happen. So it's just funny to me how some people who actually depend on real estate agents' insights, real estate agents going out there finding customers, that they're the first to try to downplay and talk down on real estate agents when you need us. If you need like that's like somebody having a business on Facebook, right? Somebody has a business and all of their business comes from Facebook, but they're talking about how they're talking down on Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook. It's like, you need him. You need Facebook. If all of your business comes from Facebook and your business wouldn't really be able to operate without Facebook, how are you going to talk down on the hand that feeds you? So if you're a loan officer and you're talking down on real estate agents, much of your business comes from real estate agents, most likely, either indirectly or directly, because without real estate agents, there would be no one helping the clients through the process, right? And I think it's like 86% of sellers use a real estate agent. I think the number is even higher for buyers. So it's like, how are you talking down on the people that are making your business possible? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. All right. But it's okay. I get it. You need the clicks. You need the views. So talk down on real estate agents. It's okay. We can handle it. As real estate agents, we hear no all the time. We hear people talking down on us all the time. But what people don't realize is that as real estate agents, we have a fiduciary duty to make sure that our clients are getting the best service possible and that we're putting their interest above ours. So when people get online and they talk down on real estate agents and they make it seem like we're just in it for the commission check, they have no idea what real estate agents actually go through. And if you are a loan officer and your business is based on real estate agents making sure the transaction happens, you're out of pocket for trying to throw us under the bus and make it seem like we're these greedy, don't care about our clients type of people. But hey, YouTube makes people do crazy things. I get it. Let's hear what other great things he has to say about the real estate market and real estate agents.
It's a scam. Just worry about the interest rate. rate. Hey, did you hear? The Fed said that eventually he's going to drop rates. That could be you. You will be able to get that 3% interest rate. Not now, in the future. Don't fall for it. It's a trap.
So again, talking down on real estate agents, making it seem like we're telling our clients they're going to be able to get a 3% interest rate in the future, making it seem like we're trying to scam them or just talk them into buying a property and pressuring them into buying a property, and all of these things that are honestly just bull. Okay, it's bull, because most real estate agents are hardworking people that have spent years nurturing a relationship with a person before they even do a transaction with them, before they even trust you enough to do business with you, to help you with one of the largest transactions that many people make in their lifetime. And so for him to come in and make it seem like we're just out here trying to scam people, or we're just telling whatever, it's like, it's interesting that he doesn't have any data to back this stuff up. He doesn't have any data, but I have data. I have data. So let me show you the actual data about how people feel about their real estate agents, because the way he makes it seem is he has this deep-rooted, data-driven analysis backing his claim that real estate agents en masse are trying to scam their clients, just tell them whatever to get them to buy a property. Let's see what actual home buyers think about real estate agents. And oh, by the way, here's another misconception. People think you have to use a real estate agent to buy and sell real estate. You do not. So let me get this straight. Most people, it's around between 86 to 90% between buyers and sellers. Most of them use a real estate agent, even though they don't have to. That should tell you the value of a real estate agent. But hey, maybe Orlando can help people buy and sell real estate and do a better job. He never offers any solutions or anything like that. It's just talking down on real estate agents. But let's look at the data of what people actually think of real estate agents, because I'm curious to see, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but here's some data. Okay, here's some data. 86% of sellers were assisted by a real estate agent when selling their home. Okay. 86%. You don't have to work with a real estate agent, but okay. Sellers who definitely would use the same agent again, 73%. So 73% would definitely use their real estate agent again. And definitely is a very strong word. Now, I'm sure it's even higher for people who said, you know what, I probably would, or I might. But this is definitely 73% had a great experience. Okay, let's look at this. For sell by owners, this is what I was telling you about. You don't have to use a real estate agent. For sell by owners, accounted for 10% of home sales. So 90% of home sales involve a real estate agent. Okay. Typical for sell by owner homes sold for $225,000 compared to $330,000 with an agent assisted home sale. So let's get into this. All right. Since Orlando and all these other people online that like to talk down on real estate agents, since they love to use data and stuff, which I still haven't really seen, but most real estate agents have a great experience with their client. For sell by owners, on average, they end up selling their property for less than if they would have worked with a real estate agent. Why? Because as real estate agents, we don't just wake up and like, we know the information. No, we study the market. We take continuing education. We have to know what we're talking about so that we can put our clients in the best position to win. Many for sell by owners don't understand the work that actually goes into selling a home. It's not just opening a door and letting somebody in the house and then, oh, the home is sold. There are contracts in place. There are title companies. There are documents that have to be signed and returned in a specific amount of time. There are things that need to take place. And many people that try to sell their home by themselves, just don't have the knowledge and the technical skills to do it. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to keep up on, from marketing a property to making sure that the person that's buying the property is actually qualified, so that you don't end up having to keep on paying a mortgage because the deal fell through because you didn't understand the overall process of getting the home sold. All of these things are what real estate agents do. And so when we talk about why it's so difficult for homeowners to sell their own property, that's a big reason. They're not familiar with terminology, the process. They don't know what problems can come up down the road that can make or break a deal. All of these things, right? So let's look at some other statistics that I'm sure Mr. Orlando and others look at. Okay, let's look at some home buyers. Okay. 86% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent or broker. Buyers who would use their real estate agent again or recommend their agent to others. 89%. 89%. So what this would tell me is 73% of buyers or sellers would recommend or would definitely use their agent again. 89% of buyers would use their real estate agent again or recommend them to others. So in what other field, tell me this, if real estate agents en masse that are helping buyers are out here scamming them or trying to take advantage of them, in what other field do you have a 89, almost 90% approval rating of showing that you would work with somebody again or recommend them to your loved ones, your family and friends? But we're scamming them. And again, these surveys that are done, they're done after the purchase. So you've already gotten the product and you have time to think about it. And now you're still saying, after everything's said and done, you would recommend this agent and work with them again? But I mean, that doesn't sound like we're out here taking advantage of people. That sounds like someone came to us and they wanted to buy a home and we're offering them a service. They liked the service. They got the home they wanted or something close to it, and they would work with us again. Oh, but here's another thing. If you're a loan officer, that's the type of real estate agent you want, right? The type that has clients that would want to work with them again. The type that has referrals that they give to the agent, so then the agent can come to you and say, hey, I have a buyer. Even if you're on the commercial side, do you want an agent that's not getting referrals? Do you want an agent that's not helping clients buy real estate right now? Like, what are we talking about here? So let's continue on. I'll play a few more minutes of this just to, let's see.
The realtor is setting down a Yu-Gi-Oh trap card, guys. That's what a realtor is doing nowadays. You have activated it.
Okay.
You don't want to be that buyer, guys. And the seller on the other side is trying to say, well, I mean,
okay. So I'll get off of him. But again, look at the language he's using. Real estate agents are trying to trap you. We're as a real estate agent, we're waking up and we're saying, how can I trap this person into doing a transaction, by the way, that takes about 30, 40 days. Trap, you can back out of it, but we're trapping you, and maybe you can't back out and without losing your earnest money, but here we are trapping you. We woke up and we trapped you by giving you market information and letting you know, oh, interest rates fell a little bit. Prices fell a little bit. We can negotiate the price down. What do you want to do? He makes it seem like we were waking up. We have a buyer net that we walk around with and we press a button and we just trap them and we're taking their bank account information and giving it to people and making them buy this property. And it's like, come on, as a loan officer, you should know better. And I see his content where he's saying, if you want to buy an investment property, go take my course or let me know and I can help you fund an investment property. Okay. I mean, what are we talking about here? If you're helping people fund investment properties, there's likely real estate agents on either side of those deals. So without those real estate agents, you wouldn't be able to help people fund these deals in most cases. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. But I felt the need to show you his content and show you why it's important to actually get data, because when we're talking about a market analysis, I know many people, they go to the negative. They go to the headlines that say you shouldn't buy a house. And maybe you shouldn't. You shouldn't sell a house. Maybe you shouldn't. But wouldn't you rather get information from a professional who can give you actual data on your specific situation than to just listen to general information that's painted with such a broad brush that's obviously biased against real estate agents, when he's actually in an industry where they depend on real estate agents to make the deals go through? But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Maybe throwing people who are responsible for your business growing under the bus, maybe that's just what we do. Okay. Maybe that's just what we do. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up. Last but not least, I'm going to show you, and if you're on Instagram, go over to my YouTube channel to see this part of it. Or if you're on the replay, you can see what I'm going to do. But I'm going to show you how, as a homeowner, you can get an instant home value estimate report straight on my website. Okay, straight on my website. And if you look in the description, okay, look in the description and you'll see my website. All right. And I'll write the website here. And you could copy and paste it if that's what you need to do. But I'm going to show you how to get an instant home value estimate. Okay. Boom. Okay. So here's the website. Here we go. Here's the website, and I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of how to do it. Okay. So here's my website right here where you can go to it. All right. And it's simple. You just go to my website, and if you want to do this, you can either copy and paste that or just click the link in the description that says seller valuation. You just type in an address. So I'm going to type in a random address. Let's see. 210. This is a random address. Pretty much what it's going to show you is this. Okay, so there's no information on this property. All right, so let's look at a different one then. There was no information on that one. I'm not sure why. It may have been market, but let's look at this one. Okay. And it may not allow me to do this because I've already put in information. Okay. So what we're going to need to do is back out of here. I'm back. And the reason it's doing this is because I'm logged into my profile. Okay, let's do a different address. 810 Matlog. Let's do this. Okay. Not available. I'm not sure what these. It might be a business. Okay. So I'm actually going to have to do an actual address that I know. All right. So sometimes if it's a business, it doesn't pull up the address. So let's see. If we have this. Okay. So again, here's this. If we put in an address, here's what you'll get. It'll show you different prices And as you can see, there's a range. But you can unlock the full report just by clicking on here and putting your email address and your phone number in. And the reason you would want that for your property, the reason why it's important to get a home value estimate for your property is it gets you thinking about what you could get for your property and what you could do with the money. And it also gives you an idea of how much money you're going to have to go towards buying your next property, right? Because many people that buy or sell also need to buy. So it just gives you an idea, and it puts you in a position of power so that you're not constantly wondering what is going to happen with the property, what could this property sell for, but also it just gives you some peace of mind to know whether your property value is going up, whether it's going down. I recommend doing it every quarter, every 3 months, if you're serious about staying up to date on your property, right? Because the last thing you want to do is go to sell your property not knowing what you could or couldn't get for it, and then now you're in a position of where you're scrambling and you're desperate. I don't want to see that. But with that being said, that's just one free resource that I have. If you need more, make sure you text July 23 to 682-266-6271 to schedule a free consultation. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Let's go.
Flexing ain't discreet about it. Extra read about it. Say you wanna beef about it. We gon' come and see about it.